Probably one of the cheapest little ships in the game. It is a Magnate from Mary's, and what I've put in it is ridiculously cheap. I've put Balefire, which is faction, so they're a little bit more powerful. Small torpedo launchers, 2 of those, which you can buy for a couple of thousand ISK, and 2 of those, and then basically just a mid slot I put a small energy Nosferatu. It's a little bit more pricey now at 100 and something thousand ISK now. Then I put Mark III small micro warp drive, which is extremely expensive at something like 400k. And finally a Rapper, Mark V small armor repairer. Now that might not fit for you, but it depends on how skilled you are in frigate stuff and armor repair, etc. Those are the ones that you need to skill up. Now, as you can see, one of these things costs 6, 7, 8,000. It's not exactly a screaming investment, is it? Now, here's the other news. You can obviously go and put a skin on them. They look okay in yellow. Trait description, you get scan resolution, inertia modifiers for frigate defense upgrade bonuses, right? Now that's it, not much else to it really. Attributes wise, you can tell that it's got a bit more armor at 351 than shields, so clever thing here is to obviously put the Rapper on it. And as you can also see, the cargo hold capacity is 1,000 square meters. That means you can fit an awful lot of loot before you have to go back and dump it somewhere in a station somewhere. Anyway, capacitors and stuff, that's all pretty okay. Not a lot to be said about max lock targets. 3 is not exactly ample, but you don't need any more than that. Now the next thing to sort of look at is your inertia, which is 2 times this mass, and warp speed 5.5, which isn't something to write home about, but it's at the top anyway of the normal stuff, so it gets you places nice and quick. And obviously with the micro warp drive you get places as far as your enemies go very nicely. And here we go, frigates. One of these will set you back a Magnate, and insurance covers it and all when you get it killed, if you wanted to waste an insurance on it, since it cost you 121,000, just over, or just under 122,000 ISK. So and you can find them pretty much anywhere, and there's millions of them around, so not exactly a huge investment. So we can kind of basically call this one a throw around, and let's have fun with it. I have to say, only today did I decide to try one, so this is a brand new one for me to go in and play with one of these things that normally would have lasers on them, because I never skilled up lasers, so I never really bothered with this yet. So here's the next thing that happens, right? As you can see here, this guy has already started attacking, guys. So what did I do here? Well, while this is going on, I'm gonna have to basically just make sure that it gets in tight enough. So we need to set orbit to 0 here. And just cycle the Rapper a few times. And I was going to show you this as well. I've switched all the automation on. And set orbit to 0, that way we won't have any problems with swing. The inertia is fairly okay on these ships because they're obviously tiny, and even with the speeds we're talking about here, as long as you're setting your what can you call it, up, your automation, which is what I'm going to show you here in a sec. in your settings. Basically the ship itself will take care of the actual battle, and all you have to do is just turn on and off your armor repair. Pretty much. Talk about getting out of fashion being a human. Right, so you can always force the orbit as well if you want to adjust it. Now remember what I put on this guy? I put torpedoes on him. Now I can speed things up here by kind of just saying, okay, look, let's go in. The Nosferatu has to be handled by me, so I'm a very important part of this puzzle. Orbit has, it's already picked it up anyway, because that's what I've set up in the automation. I'm going to let that run with the wrapper on it so that we don't get any nasty surprises. Here's the settings, battle settings. So auto attack the next target, automatic lock back. If someone locks me, it'll lock back on that. Auto orbit at default orbit range. That's the setting that I'm setting. The default I set to 0 now to make sure it's really tight. Orbit trajectory display at auto attack means that it starts attacking as well. And the final one, auto tracking. Here we go. So here we are, and I'm basically just getting a little bit of lip from some of these ships. Not that we're too worried. And between the Nosferatu and at this point the armor repairer, you know, I can sit here and let the automation take care of everything, but you know, I want to kind of hit the orbit here and there just for the fun of it, so it seems like I'm doing something. Between the waves is really the only time you have to be somewhat with it, and you might want to turn off your your armor repair to save your capacitor a little bit. Apart from that, it's a matter of setting up so that you can see things like wrecks, as well as also, and that's important, I'm going to switch this on again to kind of just show you. If you tap up here where the filters are, you can go in and you can adjust, like create a new. Ex-Scoundrel is the guy who basically I based myself on here. He had a really good setup, which I copied. Thanks for that one, buddy. And now PvE here, as you can see, I set up under PvE to use cosmic anomalies, and also the rest of it. Better go out there and save the tag as well. Better go out and have a look. Yeah, okay, so it's making noise. Yeah, because the cap's running down, because we didn't actually need to use the armor repairer to the level that we were. Now, he's now getting in close again. Forgot the fact that there was another wave there, so that's what happened. I need to have my NOS on. I need to switch off the NWD. And that way we'll get this all caught up a bit. Yeah, so I'm, basically not even playing this AFK. And the point here is that you can be AFK for the most part, but what you do need to do is you need to switch your Nosferatu on manually, and you need to, cycle the armor repair yourself for the best efficiency of the capacitor. Apart from that, there's not much you have to do really. Pick up the odd loot, and because you're doing this kind of very nice and easy, you basically just concentrate on the loot, the armor repair, and the Nosferatu, and the rest is taken care of by the automation. Now, automation is great for this type of stuff, but for PvP and stuff like that, you definitely have to start, setting where you're going and stuff like that manually, so that, you have more control over exactly when you get in close to your targets and so on. Right, so that's one of the anomalies cleared out. Let's go for the next one. Might as well while I'm recording this. And what's so good about all this time in the end? Well, apart from the automation taking care of most of it, the other thing is that when you're having a ship, let's have a look at the specs here now when I'm coming in. Right, so we flew past some guys here and just locked them in. And let's start running and put the warp drive on, and it's already picked the target and started shooting, so I don't really have to do much more, but I need to put the Nosferatu on and be ready with the armor wrapper. And of course the loot, if there's any. Right, so next wave, as you can see, it only takes from these kind of low grade stuff, things. We're talking, tier 1 here. Some fecker killed our base earlier today, so it's basically restart everything. But it doesn't really matter. The point is, with something so cheap to run and create as this ship here, this was perfect time to do a bit of research. And this is what I found, that for a couple, less than $1 million anyway spent, I could have a very nice ratting ship, which I don't really care if it dies. Now let's go for a large one. Now this is a 3 coming up, so at the end of the day,
warp drive
it really
active.
doesn't matter too much. The only thing to watch out for is obviously when you're getting clumped, and obviously in higher tiers you're going to have things like problems such as webbers and things like that. So work your way through the tiers a little bit and get into it slowly but surely. Now let's see which target it's picked. Okay, it's picked that one. Right, so that's the target now. Orbit, it's going to be doing it automatically itself, but anyway, let's go in and make sure that the whatchamacallit is on. And here we go. We need a little bit of armor repair. You don't want to be holding back too much and being too much AFK, or you'll be ending up paying all of a couple of thousand maybe if your hull gets damaged. Again, all this stuff is just so much fun, and because of the fact that it doesn't really set you back any, you can just do it nice and calmly. By zooming out, you get a little bit more of a view and better understanding of what's going on. That's particularly important, obviously, when you are getting to the special anomalies. So I've cleared already today now, since I built this, I've cleared 2 Inquisitors with this ship, and it takes from start to finish, when you arrive, it takes less than 4 minutes to clear the whole thing out. So it's very simple. And the most important point here is that it's not likely that anyone's going to be able to nick anything, because you can loot as you go. Hold on a second, I'll wrap on here a bit earlier for a change. You can loot as you go. You can also switch off the micro warp drive. It's not really that important to have the micro warp drive going once you get into a clump like this. More important to keep an eye on the armor, obviously, and even at 500 odd meters per second, the speed tank is kind of efficient enough to protect you. Also remember to kind of just pull down on that a little bit now and again, so you can see if there's any more wrecks that you've missed, or you can just zoom in a bit and look at them. Anyway, so that's it. So the micro warp drive can basically be seen as the best way to get in range quickly. So I can switch it on, turn it off, just run it for a cycle, just to get in close and personal, and then let the torpedoes take care of the rest. Now, I might go back, put the pulse lasers on again, because the pulse lasers actually does better damage than this. In fairness, we have to also remember, there you go, there's a little wreck floating, so we can pick that up here nice and quick. Well, things get kind of ready for the next round. Orbit. And get the Nosferatu on. Let's get the speed up a bit so we get in close quick. Turn it off again if we want. And let the armor wrapper sit there and do its job for a bit. Because now it's 5 ships killing, or trying to. And obviously the other thing to watch out for here is the automation picks whatever ship it feels like. And in a situation like this, it's gone and taken a coercer up instead, you know, like the destroyer here rather than the frig. So if I was to be so bold as to suggest that it'd be better to start with the magnate here and focus the fire on that, because we'll take care of him now in, you know, double quick time. As you can see there, we're getting pretty decent damage on that. Yeah, the thing I was going to say there was that the torpedoes, you know, they do hit guaranteed pretty much as long as you're in the range. And the range, as we can see here, is 4.91, so nearly 5 kilometers. And also, you reload every 10 seconds, so, you know, that's another thing to obviously be aware of. You could run a snub nose, small snub nose on this and get really kind of, you know, into it. That's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to stick some snub nose on it, rail guns on it, and basically just go in and, you know, rip them apart from like up close and personal. And as you can see, nothing here is taxing the capacitor. If I run the micro warp drive at the same time, you know, I might have to turn off the repairer now and again, you know. But as long as there's incoming damage, it doesn't really matter too much. It's if you forget to switch it off when you're not taking any damage, that's the thing that tends to confuse things a little bit. I can do it off the screen, or I can do it from the list. It's really whatever way you like. And as we can see here, you can obviously be looking through the ship, or we can, you know, zoom out, whichever. I find zoomed out view is much better. I don't really care, I've seen what the ship's looking like. So now here, you see when I have that running and there's nothing to repair, all I'm doing is killing the cap. So just remember to run a couple of cycles and then stop the repair. And the same thing goes for shield boosters.
Warp drive active.
They're the most expensive stuff really to be running all the time, so unless you need it, don't use it. Right, I've been babbling away here for 20 minutes. I better edit this back a bit. And for now, I'm going to just... Alright folks, and here we are. I decided to run with this snub nose setup instead, just for the fun of it. And this time my setup is set orbit at 0, number 1. Oops, we need to switch on our wrapper here quickly because I came in here with no shield left from the previous anomaly. And so, okay, let's see that that's all going. Well, it's going fine. As you can see, we're speed tanking as well. But I prefer to just leave the wrapper going. And let's do that. Now, to get close, we can obviously just give it a pulse on the old micro warp drive. Just shrink it down so we can see. Alrighty then. Next lot. Okay, so let's see, which one does he pick? Okay, that one. Hit the micro warp drive. Turn off the wrapper for a bit. Turn on the NOS. Turn off the warp drive. Turn on the repairer. And there we go. As you can see, it's a bit scary with the repairers, because the repairer does its repair when the cycle is complete. With boosters, shield boosters, it's the opposite. You will see them do the job from the beginning of the cycle. So with armor repair, you basically just have to turn it on before it needs to happen. Okay, there we go. Loot flying by. Might as well pick that up. And then, as you can see, it takes a little while to establish the path here, but you know, I don't have to switch on the warp drive. And there we go. There's a little bit of loot floating by. And that was that one done. So let's find the next one. Give it a quick pulse here. One cycle. So you basically switch it on and switch it immediately off again. And that way you get your one cycle. That's all that we needed there. Right, Inquisitor. Here we go. Perfect. Let's go and get that one. Let's see if it is,
Warp
as I
drive
said,
active.
about 4 minutes or so to get through it. Now, remember what I mentioned here on my PvE slate here on my overview? I've added, you know, my loot stuff as well as warp gates. That way I don't have to change the pane, I don't have to look somewhere else. I just go for it. Activate. Sometimes it seems that it takes a couple of goes, or it just
Warp
basically
drive
waits
active.
while you're warping from the previous getting there. Finishes off, and here we see 3 enemies that we don't give a damn about. We just go activate on the warp gate again. You can obviously
Warp
tap
drive
on the warp
active.
gate and you get the info there as well. You can basically tap on it and say activate. So the first 2, you know, warp gates we don't care about. And here's Purple Helmet, one of my buddies. So I'm going to be nice here. I'm not going to steal all of this stuff from him. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and kill these guys and let him take some of the loot. Righty-ho. Low shield. That noise used to be scary. These days is basically a time to go and get your armor repair turned on. And that's it. Alright, so, and the lockback automatically gets you sorted out as far as adding new guys on when you only have the 3 targets. So here we go. As you can see, we can just happily sit here and just loot stuff. I'll just give it the Purple Helmet later if he is interested. I just want to show how super looting works out with this kind of ship. Now we want to make sure that we're zoomed so we can see all 3 or 4 or whatever. Okay, so we have a caracal coming in, enemy, trying to get himself ready for a dash for that particular debris. So we're gonna go approach that, and we're gonna go switch on micro warp drive, and we're going to get up here and you're going to be clear. With the debris. Hold on a second. We're going to be... Just switch to loot and then we'll have it. Loot. Okay, loot that one first actually. The only thing you have to be careful with here is, you know, organizing what you're looting. Come on. I hate when that happens. Yeah, okay. This is one of the biggest idiotic things with the system, the way they have it set up. That once you go for a loot and it approaches automatically, that's all good, but once you've actually looted, you have to, you know, remember that it actually stops automatically, which is ridiculous. It should automatically keep going in the same direction. Okay, devs, if you see this, please do something about that. You know, getting stopped is just ridiculous. Yeah, I knew I'd missed this out. That's the thing, you know, if you get yourself caught out, something like that. Now, I wasn't particularly worried because I wanted Purple Helmet to have this loot anyway, yeah, so hopefully he got it rather than this other jerk in his carcal. And that's it. Alright folks, scout time. So with this kind of speedy build, whatever, you kind of basically go through so many of these things that you basically don't have to wait very long between them, even for these tier 1
Warp
to
drive
3 kind
active.
of anomalies, right? As you can see, there's nothing fancy here. Alright, now warp gate. You have to wait till you basically slow down so that you can change into warp again.
Warp drive
And you know
active.
that you've succeeded when you see that smoky stuff going on. Right, so here we go. Now, let's get these guys up. Speed. And let the automation pick this, you know, this, whatever it's going to be picking, rather than fighting it. And let the speed tank kick in, get you up close and personal. Now, if you need to, if the cap is getting down, you might want to slow down as well, because sometimes it's better to go a little bit slower. If you go too fast, you'll miss more. Even though with snub nose you get extremely good speed on the old tracking. So it's really kind of one of the few things that can keep up with running a micro warp drive up close and personal. Like we're talking serious up close and personal here. Now I'll turn off the repair because that's the thing that'll suck the juice out of the capacitor. Right. Now we slow down to 5 odd, 3, 4, 500 type of thing. Now, micro warp drive to get close. 1 cycle is all we need. Right, and there's something that floats by. Left, loot. Now, the looting is one thing, but you know, let's get in here and get orbiting on that guy. We can always loot when we get closer. There we go. Now we need a repair. Awesome, is there any way you could open for them? Okay. I'm in the middle of recording a video. I'll start charging for my videos. Rotten out there, is it? People annoy her. People like your dad. Come on. No. Thing is, loot stuff when you're nearby. That way you won't run into the trap of... Whoops. Now let's get those guys going. And again, since I've set everything to be automated, it's no use me picking out who I'm going to orbit. Let the system do that and then do whatever else you can do while the actual thing is going on. Switch off the micro warp drive so we're not drawing that. Also turn off the repairer now and again. And if we're too far away from stuff, you might want to just give it a burst of speed now and again to just get close. Like this, just a quick cycle there. And a bit of repair. And there we go. Now, as we can see here, I've zoomed out so I can see all the wrecks and all the stuff, all the goodies that I need to pick up once this is over. And that's what I recommend, because there's always going to be people coming in. I want to see any looting I can do while the AFK ratting is going on. I'll do it, and then I'm kind of ready to just take everything else. Like in this case it's the scouts, so there'll be info shards. Alright, so we're 1 or 2 minutes in. Loot. Okay, that's all it took. I think that one there is closest, is it? If you don't know, just basically just go by the, the overview here. And don't forget to switch on your micro warp drive. Yee-haw. Oh, and don't forget to turn off your repairer or you run out of poke all the way through. Or half the way through. Now we can see here. We're going to that one now, and then we can line up and be ready for the next one. Alright, loot. And with this little cheapo magnate ship, this whole thing took about 2 minutes, I think. I'll check it on the video after. That's it. That's how you do a scout. It's only level 1 in fairness, so obviously it might get harder the higher ups, but yeah, might be time to hit the base and offload. Now then, that's it folks, that's how you do it.
Warp drive
Just keep
active.
a track on your micro warp drive and your repair, and make sure they don't run the cap down too far. And that's all you need to remember. And now once we dock here, I shall have a quick look at what loot we got. We obviously got a little bit of cash for the job insofar as killing off the nasties. Here we go. Right, so we got all the cheapo crap obviously from the general anomalies and stuff, but as you can see we picked up some data cores and blueprints and stuff like that, and warp core stabilizer, that kind of stuff. Anyway, higher level stuff would obviously come out of higher level anomalies. Now with a setup like this rig here, just to go through the fitting and one last time, I'm running quaifs on this. Quaif, small sub nose railgun, you need to be very close. But anything from 0, which is what I use to set, that way you'll keep close enough to actually hit stuff. But one of these things, you know, on the market will set you back something like 340 at the moment, 340,000. It's not a lot. Now you can go for a cheap one. I mean, you can find them for like 5,000 ISK or whatever, and you know it takes a little bit longer to kill shit. But so what? The other thing that I warmly recommend is an upper small energy Nosferatu. Now you can see here that they're only going in at 120, 130 or so thousand. Now you can go with a standard one, and it doesn't have to be, you know, just as long as it's a small one, it'll be fine. Mark III small micro warp drive. I was using a dealer one on my alt, you know, but you know, 512% speed differential, kind of fine, you know what I mean? And here we go. These things set you back all of 3 to 400,000. And one of these Mark V small armor repair, not even a faction one, yeah, 15 grand. It's not an awful lot, okay? So for something like that, you can basically go on rats, a speed tank, and whatever, and anything up till I would say about level 5, maybe 6, pretty safely. Anyway, fly safe out there and have fun.